There are a number of reasons why we need to work together as people who want to see change in this country. Not only change of regime, but change in the manner in which governance is conducted in this country. Because we've been in a vicious cycle for 60-something years. Regimes change, the direction of governance remains the same. It's a culture which is deeply entrenched. And there must be a team of leaders who need to understand that beyond regime change, which by all means we must put effort behind to do, to achieve, fulfill, but the largest struggle is in how to change our country and put it on track in terms of good governance. One, MOU is mostly around the short term, which is this coming election. Even within that, we as PFF and NT recognize that there are other parties that we can reach out to. And that council will work on that. That we don't have to agree 100%. That if there are 5 issues, even if we agree on 4 or 3, we can work around those that we agree on and have the discipline not to quarrel over the 2 or even 3 that we don't agree upon. Why is that important? Because the country is bleeding. Many of you are young here, even by demographics in the country. Under 35 are 75%. So many of you did not have the misfortune of going through turmoil that we've gone through as a country. It's not only Uganda. When politics goes off track, a lot of wrong things can happen. I can give an example of a country which is unique on this continent. In fact, we have our troops there, Somalia. Somalia are literally the same people. They speak the same language. They are culturally the same. In terms of religion, 99 point something are Muslims. So they don't even have religious differences in Somalia. But they broke down. So their breaking down was not because of strife, religious strife, nor was it ethnic strife. Their strife originates from clans. You can imagine, clans. But the problem even then is not clans, is poor governance. So when we talk about the need and desire to work together as forces of change, it is to avoid a situation where this country can go down the tubes. Many people don't even recognize that, because now we're in a state of uncertainty. Nobody knows exactly which direction this country is heading. Those in the regime can say, oh, we are in charge. We have seen many countries where leaders say they're in charge. The most recent was Sudan. Sudan became independent before we did, in 1957. When the North and South separated, the excuses that were being given that yes, because Sudan is Arab and Muslim, the South is black, Africans and Christians, but they separated. But Sudan, as we speak, is in turmoil. Largely Arab-speaking and Arabs by origin, and also largely Muslim. But they are fighting. People get deceived when you are in a city or in a country and you can drive, like we do. People in Mukesa, people go all over the place. except those who are targeted politically. Otherwise, you can drive all over the country. Even in Sudan, that was the case until it imploded. So even when you see seeming stability in a country, to be sure that that stability is permanent and continuous, you need to look below the surface. If there are fissures, you need to pay attention to those fissures. And in this country, you see seeming stability on the surface. Beneath the surface, there are dynamics which could just lead in any direction. That's why the need to work together is therefore critical. Even those other formations that desire to see change in this country, there are things which we need to work on together, even if we didn't reach a point of signing memorandum of understanding. How so? Countries are not held together by mortar, walls, or by fences. Countries are held together by hope in the future, by common purpose. Don't lose sight of that. Because in a situation where countries implode, the ruling party is normally the one which implodes, and it implodes with the state. In that situation, there needs to be people who may not necessarily be part of governance, who are outside, but speak the same language. What holds the people together is the common language of hope. The taking of power is for sure. I can't put my finger onto it, the day. But one thing I'm certain about, taking power, we will, by God's grace, take power in this country. That's not the main issue, though. Because even when you take power, how you use it, how you manage it, is the most critical thing. And therefore, part of why we found the need to work together with colleagues in PFF is to resuscitate hope in our people, in this country, to lift them from the mentality in which they are being plunged by systematic campaign of General Museveni, to break them down, to cause them to be hopeless and frustrated, and to reach a point where they say that nothing can happen here. Things can happen. Because though General Museveni, certainly as a sitting president, he holds power over the army, security services, and other institutions certainly which have broken down, incidentally, but he does not have control, nor is he in charge of the dynamics of change. Dynamics of change always create their own life, and nobody can stop them. People who are observant, people who are able to analyze things deeply, you can see the dynamics of change at work. They may be slow, but they are relentless. That's why you see someone like Mugabe, whom everybody thought was in charge, and they were saying, Mugabe, where can Mugabe go? You saw what happened. Always. And therefore, we thank God that we were able to regroup. Because therein also lies another lesson to the country. General Museveni over time has consciously, deliberately, and in a systematic way created a state of being in our country to make it seem that when people disagree, that necessarily you become hostile to each other, almost that you become enemies. That's why he has built a barrier in the country for purpose of psychologically influencing the thinking of the people, us versus them. He's good at deception. There's no doubt about that. You have to give it to him. He's thorough at deception. Because he knows that when you have the people who are disempowered, when you have the people who have lost hope, when you have the people who have got frustrated, it is easy to control them and manipulate them. I thank God that we have regrouped. Because it must signal the population that you may have disagreements, but you don't have to be hostile to one another. You don't become enemies. Because our separation in the case was never personal. It was on strategy and methods, that's all. But we're also mature people across the aisle. On our side as NT, on the side of PFF. We are mature and we learn from lessons of the past as we continue to shape the future that we desire to see happen. It's tough, but we have got capability to maneuver, even within challenging times. We will maneuver. We don't understand something. Lastly, where there is a desire for us to work together, those who desire to see change, what change in terms of getting into power and removing those who are then getting in there is a foregone conclusion, only that we don't know the date. But resuscitating a people who've been so broken down to regain hope, to regain self, a sense of self-worth, self-worth, self-worth. Because that's also another area where Jerome Museveni has worked systematically to break down the people. Their sense of self-worth, the majority of them, is gone. And yet, the strength of a country is never on infrastructure. He keeps talking about roads, he talks about dams, he talks about electricity. Libya had more than we have. Iraq had more than we have. Sudan had more than we have. But where is that infrastructure in all those countries? But back that point, and we really need to work on it every moment that we have. When you find a leadership which breaks down a people, I have said this, I keep saying it over and over until it sinks in people's consciousness. When people will scramble for 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings, give up their right, their fundamental right of choice, and replace it with 1,000, 2,000 shillings, that's a population that is being brought down to its knees. Countries which prosper, see countries which are almost like us, same level of development. They went through challenges. Countries like Vietnam. We see countries which have developed so fast, like South Korea, like Singapore. It's not only just leadership, it's also the people. People who are proud of themselves. Because when people are proud of themselves, when they have that sense of self-worth, several things happen. Innovativeness accrues from that. people cannot do things when they feel as if they are nothing. And that's what General Museveni has done to our people when you look all over the country. He started with the local people. Now he has gone up the ladder. He has gone in the territory of the leaders and also broken them down to a point where a number of them are being bought as if they are goats in markets. That's time. For any group that wants to transform this country, transformation cannot come from minerals, it cannot come from wherever, it must come from the people who recover that sense of self-worth. And it can only be done by the leaders. We thank you, PFF, to remain standing, in spite of whatever challenges you've gone through. We have also remained standing. So we have defied, as Honorable Salaso has said, we have defied General Museveni's prophecy of saying that by 2021 there will be no opposition party. He is a false prophet. That's why we are here. And let's see how things unfold. May God bless you all.